Hello, and welcome to Metachemistry. This is episode 137, and we're back with a Winner's Circle episode. Though, of course, lately, that means we have Rob or CobraPrime with us today. And so we're structuring this a little bit differently, because we also have his top table opponent and friend of the channel, Azoka, on board with us. So thank you both for joining us. I know it can be difficult coordinating schedules, but I really appreciate you guys being flexible for us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so today we're talking about Sin City Smackdown, and this is 2026, so this is a little old at this point. This was about a month ago, at the tail end of January. That was January 31st through February 1st. So we're going to talk about your guys' experience at the event, of course, as we do with our typical Winner's Circle episodes, but we also know that both of you guys are very good players and would love to talk more about general strategy and kind of how you get to the level that you guys are at. But before we get into that, I do want to quickly say thank you to Mo Games, sponsor of Metachemistry. And you can find them over at mo-games.com. And as part of their sponsorship, all of our patrons of any paid level get a 10% discount code to that store. And whether you're a patron or not, just being a part of our Discord, you can join up for our monthly giveaway for a $40 coupon code each month. So to do that, you just join our free Discord, click the role for Mo giveaways, and you'll need a US-based address for that to ship to, and you'll be entered to win. Because what's better than games? Mo Games. And so, again, we have Azoka, Rob, or CobraPrime, Ian, and myself. So, again, thank you guys so much for joining us on the show. It's really good to have you guys. It's always a pleasure to do these sorts of interviews.
Yeah, it's always fun to do that. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, to start us off, you guys want to kind of talk about Sin City Smackdown a little bit, just a little bit about how the event was structured, the missions that went into it, general things that you kind of noticed or enjoyed or stood out to you for the event itself.
Go ahead, Rob.
I'm going to start real quick because then I'm going to give you the floor, Azoka. Because as you mentioned, Devin, it's been a month and I have no idea what happened at that event. Like, I don't know if it's the Vegas fog, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but my brain stayed in Vegas and I don't remember most of it. Right, so I think it's because I drank too much. I definitely remember going out on the town and like seeing the sights of Vegas and like walking down the street at 9 to 10 o'clock at night and it like being literally daylight because it was so bright.
Right.
But as far as the games go and the tournament itself, it's kind of a blur. So I'm hoping Azoka remembers a lot more about the event than I do. I remember the cool extras were neat. The event itself was very well run. Reese did a great job of making sure everything ran smoothly, and George, as usual, made sure that everybody had a great time. So it was definitely a well run event. But as far as the details, Azoka, take it away.
Yeah. I want to second what you had said, that I think Reese and George just always do a great job of their tournament. It is a pleasure going out there and playing with them. I will say their achievement list for their little extras this year was fun, and I actually really liked it, but maybe because I found a couple of opportunities to actually partake in it, as opposed to some people who are just like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
They did 2-hour 15 rounds, and that is my first experience at a large event that does 215, and it really felt nice to be like, all right, we're coming up on turn 3. I'm going to expect that we have like 10 minutes left. We need to hurry. And I look up and there's like 40 minutes left. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, that was really great. I wish more tournaments would do that.
Yeah, I think that might be a direction that we head in.
I hope so. I mean,
That'd be nice.
As long as you're not trying to cram 4 rounds into one day, I don't see any reason why you can't just tack on an hour or something to the length of the event and give everybody an extra 15 minutes. It's great.
Yeah,
For sure.
then,
yeah.
in addition, I did notice, so as we transition from the old ways, which is, what was the old program that we used to keep track of stuff? Do you guys know?
OTM?
Yeah, as we move away from OTM and onto Corvosphere, it's a challenge. And so Reese
Growing
was
pains.
definitely taking his steps to try and make sure stuff was going to fit correctly.
Yeah.
OTM had its challenges, and Corvosphere fixes a lot of that, but there's some stuff that it doesn't do quite as good as OTM, so it's a work in progress.
So-
Yeah.
This is a good time to interject that, like, the guys who create Corvosphere don't necessarily know when things aren't working right, because, like,
Yeah.
I gave them a whole list of problems that the community basically was complaining about, and they're like, "Oh wow, we haven't heard of any of this." And apparently, I'm going to do a plug for this. There's in the hamburger menu, there's a report an issue button that's like totally hidden if you don't know it's there. So in your profile, when you go to yourself, like click on the little hamburger menu and look for the report an issue and complain about what's fucked up about Corvosphere, and they'll try and get to it. Like if everybody does it, hopefully we'll catch more of the bugs and they'll fix it and make it glorious and wonderful.
That is a really good shout.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can't fix something you don't know is broken. So.
As far as notes for the tournament, I mean, that really covers it pretty well. I guess the only thing that we didn't talk about is mission selection. Do you guys care to go over that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, let me pull it up.
Well, our missions for Salt Lake started with, or Salt Lake. Oh my gosh, where am I? Sin City.
I do that all the time because of the initials. You know, it's
Yeah.
Sin City Smackdown, Salt Lake Showdown. They're two S's with a letter in the middle. I do that all the time.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Glad it's not just me.
Akeal was, or Akeal? How the heck do we say this?
I don't know. Akeal?
I usually say Akeal interference, but
Well, let's just say it a different way every single time we mention it this episode, and one of them will bound to be correct.
I'll just call it Alligator Game.
Good, highly classified.
Crossing Lines, round 2. Annihilation for round 3, which is
Old.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
that
choice.
Mm-hmm.
Provisioning for round 4, and then Area of Interest for round 5. And notably, for those listeners, both Provisioning and Area of Interest shared a deployment zone. They did not play them split like they would be in the ITS packet.
Yeah, a lot of
as
tournaments.
in it was the same. It was
Yeah.
either the left
Same
corner
thing.
for both missions or the right corners for both missions.
Yeah,
Correct.
the left.
In this case, the left. Got it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of tournaments do that. They'll pick both provisionings and area of interest on the same day and then enforce the same sides for ease of use. I think Corvus Belly should take note.
I think they're cowards, but I get it.
I agree with you, Azoka.
I think it's difficult enough to set up tables for all the different missions that could happen. But even if they're simpler, like how many times have you played a game of, say, Biotech 4 with an 8-inch deployment zone? Like, oh, I all of a sudden have almost nowhere to deploy something, whereas on 12-inch deployment zone missions, it was probably fine, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's for sure.
Will
I can,
compete that because both of the quarter deployments are incredibly generous. The 24-inch bubble is actually quite huge.
Yeah, it is.
it's a fair amount of space, but it's smaller than a normal 12-inch band
Yeah, that is true.
by a fair bit.
Math.
Exactly. I'm not going to do it, but I know that it's small.
It's true.
I don't know. I already have trouble fitting all my units into my deployment zone, so
I want to touch
Too
on
many
what
big bases.
You said, Rob, when we were talking about the mission layout. Akeal is absolutely way better countermeasures. I hated countermeasures, and I love Akeal.
yeah, it's way better. Way less swingy, much more like you get control. There's a point to controlling the board and controlling areas of the board. I think it's much better. Yeah,
For sure.
having it round 1 was an interesting choice.
Well, to not get too in depth to the achievements, I don't want to talk about every single one of them, but maybe some that were kind of standouts. They
Lava.
asked. Yeah, that's the first one that I was going to say. Okay, so here's the rules for Floor is Lava. Assuming I can find it on the sheet that I have in front of me. Okay, at the end of each game round, have no troopers touching the surface of the table, i.e. the game mat.
Oof.
That is specific, and
Yeah.
some tables will not allow that,
Yep.
Yeah, it's
That
it,
or not easily.
yeah, it is very table dependent. Although George specifically mentioned that like creative ways of rules lawyering the wording of the each one was totally acceptable. So for instance, there was one
Mhm.
table where the game mat was like this plain black mat, and the rest of it was caves. And there were like cave systems that you could walk through that weren't actually the mat, they were actually terrain, and you could only walk through the cave systems. So like he specifically said anybody who plays on that table automatically gets floor is lava because you can't play on the game mat. I'm like, oh, okay. So like for instance, the templates in um area of interest don't count as the game mat, right? So if you're in one of the template areas, you're not on the game mat. You're good.
Nice.
the other fun ones were, I guess, just like quickly, is they had stand and deliver, which is play the entire game without voluntarily going prone.
That one was fun.
Heavyweight, which is
Nice.
play the whole game without ever jumping, climbing, or vaulting over any obstacles.
That one was really hard.
And then the rest, there's a whole bunch of other ones there, but I'll talk. There's a few that I'll talk about later.
There was one that I don't think anybody got. The one where you can only have one model left alive at the end of the game.
Highlander.
Yeah, Highlander. I don't think anybody got that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody got it either. It's really hard. Every model dead except for one.
For one. On both
I think, Ian, haven't you had that experience in one of your games?
I have had that experience in a few games.
Okay.
One of the best ones ever was Shane's going away tournament when he moved out of state. And it was the game I played against Shane that day. And the game came down to I had the objective with a war core, or not a war core, a war driver. And we just a bloodbath, and that's the only model I had left, and he had Shona left, and went to CC me, and I crit with the shotgun, and she didn't crit on her swing. And and so this war driver has the objective and wins the game, being the only model left on the board. 11 points or 14 points, whatever it is, out of
amazing.
600 points left.
That's fantastic.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and so for these achievements, were there like prizes or incentives for them, or is this just kind of a fun thing to like force you to do something that you might not normally do?
I think there was a prize at the end for whoever got the most.
There was.
Yeah. And I know that I had a lot, but I did not have the most.
There were 15? Hold on. Yeah, there were 15 achievements, and Michael Klein from New Mexico got
Of course he
14.
is.
That's really impressive.
It is. I managed to get 11, which is pretty good, but I was really going for it at the end. And then when Michael had mentioned that he got 13, I was like, there's no way I'm getting this many. So
I don't remember how many I had. I think I had 11 or 12. I was up there, but not. Yeah, there was no way for me to get 13 or 14. That's dedicated.
The prize was wrapped like a wrapped Christmas present. And so Michael got to open it and stuff, and he just like tore it open, and apparently it was just $2,000 worth of stuff. I mean, without actually breaking down the money, he just opened it up and he's like, "There's a air compressor in here and a airbrush. There's so much stuff in here, and a bunch of old models. Yeah,
Wow.
like terrain
That's pretty
pieces
sweet.
and stuff.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds like a fun addition to the event for sure, and a nice way to kind of, like I said, do stuff
things
that
up.
you normally wouldn't.
For sure.
So now for the event, which of course both of you participated in, you guys ended up meeting at Top Table. Do you guys want to kind of talk about that game a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah.
As I said, I don't remember most of it. So like fortunately Azoka took a picture of it and I looked at it and it like triggers some nascent memories of some of the things that happened, but I'm gonna really be relying on Azoka's better memory for this.
Yeah. Rob took the win, clearly being the winner of the tournament. But
Yeah. Did I win the lieutenant role, or I'm pretty sure I did, right? Because
no, I won the lieutenant role and I chose deployment.
Okay.
Which forced you a hard decision between going
Yeah.
first and second, which the more I play the mission, the less I believe it's a hard decision.
Yeah, the more I play the mission, the more I agree with you. I think going first is actually the choice to make, really, if you win the role. Because being able to place that, I mean, it really does depend on the table, and whether the terrain allows you to really seclude and cover the zones. But I think having the option of putting the important zone down is really key for this mission.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that I'll get into why, but I think that is actually one of the huge reasons that cost me the game.
I mean, I think it's so going second does have its advantages, right? And deployment definitely also has its advantages. And I'm the first person to say that choosing deployment is never wrong, right? Because I really like to choose deployment and counter deploy. But I think that being able to place that position, especially the way I build lists and the way I've been building lists for this season, being able to decide where on the table you get to point your arrow pieces, what the important areas for your opponent to have to go to, is really key for this mission. So yeah, I would agree with you that I think that choice may have been key in the deciding calculus at the end of the game.
Yeah. Well, you took us off with first turn, and I think that largely the first turn, the notable things from my side of the board was that you took the objective, right? You just went and pressed the objective with your 0 forward observer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And laid a mine on it. And then
and put my guys in zones, right? Which is really all you need to do if you have first turn. You need to put your guys in the zones and then be able to keep them there, right? Like, you don't necessarily need to take your opponent's zone because it doesn't score until the end of the game, but you do need to take the important zone, and you need to have a hacker in one of those zones. At least in my opinion, that's important, right? So being able to, position that zone right next to where my guys are, right, was pretty useful, because then I could just walk them into it and then stick them in good arrow positions to hold down the fort. And it ended up being really hard to hold that fort against you, because you had some good firepower that came over around that corner and shot them to death. But I think I had enough arrow pieces to hold out. So
yeah. But I guess we didn't talk about what we were playing. I was playing Military Orders, and then you were playing Buchanan.
Right. Which I have been playing for the last 3 months, which is really unusual for me. I usually change factions every event, but I started playing Buchanan for, what was it, Beantown Beatdown, I think it was, and I just got lazy and didn't want to take stuff out of my bag. Right, I know. But I think that I like them well enough that I'm going to take them to Interplanetario, which means I really need to practice with them. So I've had one list that I've been playing almost unchanged for most of the events that I've taken it to, and then I've got another list that I swap around. And in this particular game that I played with Azoka, I played that list that I've been playing in all of the events, so I had a lot of experience with it. So I think that probably helped a lot too.
Nice.
As for myself, I know that our listeners might be familiar with Rob's list. I'm not going to tell you everything that I had, but I'll tell you the important pieces. It carries Dart. It's got the sort of disgusting Harris that I think might be a thing for MO that's floating around, which is Deferzen, a Knight of Justice hacker with a pitcher, and a Firewall Teuton.
Yeah, it's the Uteros triad from the last season, right? When military, or not military orders, when Steel Phalanx was really strong.
Yeah,
sure.
Uteros, Pandora, and what's his name? The engineer guy with the Panzerfaust.
Ackman, yeah,
Ackman. And that trio is super good in military orders. So
It's very good. I find I'm putting it in too many lists, which is actually making me really upset. But in addition, I play a Trinitarian sniper, and then a Black Friar, which I will say is phenomenal, as well as
Mhm.
I've been putting a lot of the TAC-aware forward observer bots in my list. I've been having a lot of fun with them, but those will be pieces that come up in our topic or on our conversation of the game.
Yeah, that Blackfriar was a really key piece. It was good.
Yeah. So back to your first turn of scoring the zones and stuff. You got rid of a peacemaker with your
After some significant effort. Yeah.
yes, it was a lot of effort. I made sure that our climbing was accurate. I guess is
Right.
how we could put it.
Yeah, it was really hard to figure out a correct way to get the pupniks up the wall and over the balustrade to get to that peacemaker.
Yeah, fat bases. But then on my first turn, truly, I don't remember exactly what happened on my first turn. I know that with my Black Friar, I took out your Cenobite heavy rocket launcher, as you know, it's a pretty decent counter to it. I think I spent like 4 orders doing it though.
Yeah, he's tough. Did I get him back up with Agatha? I don't remember.
No, I don't think that you ever had an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that's what she's for. Like she's supposed to get him back up, but it doesn't always work out placement wise and whatnot.
But my
Mhm.
first turn was just a lot of positioning, not really a whole lot of violence. There were some sides that I moved across where I was able to catch like your Chimera out and hit it, just be able to shoot it. But outside of that, it was a pretty standard, simple first turn for the both of us.
But of course, I think that when nobody does anything super special, whoever went first and got to place those zones has the advantage because that
Yeah.
means that I'm defending essentially from first turn, and defending those zones is pretty much the only way to score. So
Let me tell you, that's how it felt.
yeah,
I think it so I know on your second turn you played a lot with your Riot Girl fire team with Uahu and the Spitfire, and you like took out the my like Raven Eye as well as a few other troopers who were just kind of sitting around.
yeah, I didn't think I had a whole lot to do, right? So that's the other disadvantage of going first and like positioning well is that once I'm in position and I'm set up defensively, like I don't really have anything else to do except like try and charge into your defenses and whittle down orders. So it doesn't necessarily make for a like tactical genius play, right? Like it's all about getting your stuff set up correctly and then saying, "All right, come get me." I mean, eventually you have to go get that other zone, but honestly, it's not that important for this mission. You can completely ignore the other zone and not really worry about those points as long as you're scoring the button every turn and you're scoring the main zone every turn.
Yep, you're totally right.
Mhm.
Other notable things that happened on your turn were I revealed the Trinitarian when you came to fight the Knight of Justice.
Yeah, that was brutal.
It was very interesting of an experience. We had a line of sight issue with one of a cover concern with one of the small barricades where the sniper just had a line of sight to the whole model's base, which
like he was up against it and the line was like past his line of sight, but you could see the whole base. So
which ended up
I
in
see.
Bobara getting killed. But I think you had a rounder with MSV, or was it the Orphan with MSV2 that took it out?
I don't remember which one took it out, but I had both the rounder and the Orphan. The Orphan had MSV2, the rounder only had MSV1. So I don't remember which one shot it, but
I
killing
think it
Obara
was
was a big deal. She was one of my primary like hold down the fort guys because she gets people up and is hard to kill and is good in suppression fire. So taking her out was probably worth the points on that Trinitarian.
Yeah, it was very rough too because I revealed the I remember you saying this after having the experience because you moved up to fight the Knight of Justice, and then the Trinitarian popped out. And I'm pretty sure I don't remember who you fought the Knight of Justice with. I think it was the Rounder, I believe, but you took the fight, or we took the fight, and I think she lost to the both of them, and then you moved someone again and lost to the Trinitarian. And then you took the Trinitarian out and pushed me back a little bit. But rough second turn, I guess.
Yeah. That fight over there in that corner over that over the important zone. I mean, that was the make or break for the game, right? Like you had your really strong fire team over there, plus the Trinitarian, and I had a big defensive network with a bunch of people, and you picked apart most of them, but then you didn't have any way to actually get to the zone.
Yeah, it was really hard. You had a Sin Eater in the back covering the zone really well, which is also so it was either on my first or second turn that I fought the Sin Eater with the Black Friar, and I think it was the second turn.
Yeah, I think I remember that, and the Blackfire is the perfect piece to take out the Sin Eater, man, because that Albedo just really ruins his day.
Yeah. And I think that you're right. That is the answer to deal with the Sin Eater. And I'm pretty sure me choosing to do that is what cost me the game.
Really?
I'll elaborate as we continue to talk about our game here. But so on my second turn, I had lost my Blackfriar to the Sin Eater. After the Blackfriar kind of did some more work around the table. I don't think anything was too crazy impactful though. You also managed to take down my Teuton, I think with your Spitfire, and I shot my Teuton with my Paramedic, and the Teuton died, which will become funny later. And
I seem to remember having an exchange with my Sasha throwing EM grenades. Was around that time?
Yeah, it was right around there too. Your Sasha was tossing out EM grenades. Unfortunately, I think to no avail.
Yeah. It was sad because that would have been great.
Yeah, because you were positioned to EM both Deferzen and the Knight of Justice hacker, which would have just been phenomenal. But
yeah, that's the perfect weapon for those guys. But
yeah.
Say
and then I moved Dart up to be in an annoying position, but outside of that, I mean, she didn't really do anything. Notable thing, I was trying to do Flora's Lava this whole mission, which I achieved, but it was silly.
Yeah.
That's when to do it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Playing for top table, like, hold on, I need to get everyone off the game mat. I need orders to do that. Just a moment.
I want to talk about one of my previous games in the tournament, and it'll be relevant to that topic. But yeah,
go ahead.
I'll visit after our game,
okay?
Because I want to stay on topic. But I think our turn twos were just really kind of like beating each other up. But then on turn 3, you pushed upwards with Denma, which was a notable thing. You had your Riot Girl just kind of be up in a nuisance spot.
Riot Girl Spitfire.
Riot Girl Spitfire, yes. Actually, no, I think on turn 2, my Sasha, who picked up an HMG with booty, killed your Riot Girl.
Oh, that was awful.
That was an experience that we shared.
Yeah. Stupid Sasha.
Those booty rolls.
Yeah, my Sasha got, I don't remember, something dumb, but that HMG was
I feel like it was like +4 armor or something
like that. It ended up not mattering. I think she died just like out of hand at some point.
But so on your turn 3, you just kind of really played cagey, I guess, for the most part, because you didn't have much to. Oh no, I know what you did on your round 3. Your round 3, this is why me killing my Teuton is with my Paramedic is funny, is because you brought your sick Mar Spider up and
Oh,
over
that's
the
right.
wall. Paramedics one dude, killed him.
Yep.
Paramedic a second, or Gizmo kitted your Chimera, or
Elder.
paramedic,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, no, brought her back.
Oh, did
And
I?
then you moved back
rolled
around
so
to
many
pick
times.
up either the Rounder or something, and then killed that one. So we killed 3 of our own models that game.
With paramedics. Yeah, that's another reason why Wabara is important, because she's a real doctor and has an extra med kit. But the Mars Spider, Mars Spider, don't sleep on the Mars Spider, man. Like, if
So
I can give you
fast.
one piece of advice on Bakunin, don't sleep on the Mars Spider, because it's fast, it has climbing plus, it has flamethrowers, it's good in close combat, it has both a Gizmo kit and it's a paramedic. So, it can do both. It's great. And it's only
Yeah.
like 19 points.
I'm pretty sure your Mars Spider rolled around the corner for like the last order that you had and CC'd my Knight of Justice, killing him.
Yeah, because it's not great, but it is burst 2. Yeah, he's amazing. And
Nice.
he also duels with a lizard, which is in my other list. I have him duoing with the lizard. So the lizard moves up and shoots something and shotguns this 6'2" Mars Spider death machine, which can also Gizmo kit it if it needs to. Like, it's fantastic. Anyhow, that's my Mars Spider rant.
Rad.
There. They seem pretty cool.
They also
And the
are
models
a
are
super
sick.
cool model, man. They little Dr. Octopus thing with spider legs. It's great.
Yeah, the models make me wish that they were in Corregidor, even though I don't play any Nomads, so whatever.
Why? Like, I didn't understand why they had Gizmo kits, and then someone's like, "It's because they're Dr. Octopus." Obviously, I'm like, "Oh yeah, duh, obviously."
I'm not sure I quite see the train of thought there, but
Dr. Octopus
take
with
your
his
word for it.
things. He's like a doc. He fixes things. I don't know.
He's an engineer.
Really?
He's a scientist. He's a complex man.
Yeah, but they're clearly more modeled after like the Iron Spider, right?
Who? What?
Never mind. Let's not go on that tangent.
Yeah,
So,
don't get me
back to the
started.
Go on for hours.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll get to that. So now that I'm talking about it, I don't know exactly how the order expenditure sequence went for what happened, but you had pushed Denma up, and I needed to move Dart around to deal with Uahu and your second Riot Girl who was on the zone, right? To just try and score some points for myself. I bring Dart around. She shoots at Denma. Denma and her crit. I move her again. She shoots at Denma. Denma crits her, and she dies. Then I continue around with Deferzen, and this was my turn 3. I continue around with Deferzen to try and like just score some points by touching the middle to reset it and get the zone. And at this point, it's garbage infinity, and I was not. We were going for prayers, letting everybody shoot Deferzen and seeing how far we could get. Spoiler alert: it didn't work. But the reason that I believe that shooting your Sin Eater with the Blackfriar was a mistake is because I didn't need to. If I leave the Blackfriar there, you didn't really have anything that could contest the Blackfriar. Like, you brought up your Riot Girl Spitfire to come and shoot a whole bunch of dudes. Granted, the Riot Girl Spitfire does have the advantage of dice against the Blackfriar, so you could still kill the Blackfriar, but it's a little bit of a harder fight. Maybe you think not to do that. But the most notable thing that I thought of thinking back about this game is that if the Blackfriar didn't die to your Sin Eater, he was still in position to protect against Denma. So then Dart would have never had that engagement, which she failed at, and could have just had a free sweep to get to the back line, and then maybe get crit by Uahu instead. But
possibly, yeah. But no, that makes sense, because like that positioning that you had for the Blackfriar was really good, and it was a real problem. So the fact that the sniper duel went in my favor was kind of a big deal. So if you had just left him alone and let him have his slice of the world, then yeah, you're right. It probably would have still been a real issue for Denma to move up the field. I mean, Denma was still pretty good at dodging, right? Like he's no slouch. He dodges on a 14 or a 17 if he gets his +3 fizz. So he's got options, but that Blackfire is really the thing that you want to use to kill him. So
yeah. And the other note that I look back on is when I said I don't need to fight the Sin Eater, I say that with caveat that he is looking at the only zone that matters for the whole game.
Yeah.
But like I could have taken fights in 16 very easily instead of trying to take one of these harder fights, and I could have taken them with higher armor, higher wound count models. So when they fail, it's not just gone.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of risk management and what do you have to gain versus what do you have to lose, depending on how the roll actually goes. Yeah, I think that's a good shout.
Oh, that
That's
was a really
really-
good. Yeah, that was a good overview.
Hooray! I think that covers about most of the game.
Yeah, and again, I think it was the fact that since I had placed the zones, right, and I got to go first and set myself up in good defensive positioning, you basically, your attack runs had to succeed, and it was break even enough that you didn't score points, which was because like I didn't like dominate you, right? Like I didn't kill a whole bunch of stuff. You just couldn't get through my defenses. And eventually you wore them down considerably, but not enough to get enough points over the course of the whole game. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like a pretty tense game, but yeah, I mean, if you can just maintain while sitting on the zones, then, I mean, that's enough for area of interest for sure.
I mean, honestly, if top table at a 5-round satellite event is not tense, then somebody's doing something wrong, right?
That's true.
Right.
The floor was lava. How could it not be tense?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So let me chat about this. Annihilation. Okay. Annihilation was an experience at a 5-round tournament. It also was an experience playing against Josh from our local meta, Josh B. Or Josh Posh, if you guys have played him in any of the online games.
Is he the real Josh again?
He is the real Josh. He plays higher. No, actually, he did not. I think Nordy took 9th, and Josh B and Trevor took 13th and 14th, I believe, which is overall pretty good showing for Colorado. Let's go, but not as good as California, so we got to take him down.
Yeah, we have a joke going at every like local tournament or big tournament that the two Joshes that regularly play in our meta go to whoever places higher is the real Josh until the next one.
That's right.
Yeah. We have a Morgan Prime in my meta, so we go do that too, but I always win, so.
Whoever there's a real Prime.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting good, so like I might have to worry about my name someday.
But not today.
Not yet. Not so far.
Break his legs. Okay, so I played Josh in Annihilation, and there's a achievement called Refused Flank, which is you can only deploy in one corner of the table, or one like side of the table. So you split the table in half, and you can only deploy in there.
I didn't get that
one. There's that, and at the start of the game, I was like, "Josh, do you want to do this?" And he said, "Sure." And then I went a step further, and I was like, "Oh, we could also do this other one called Pinball, which is don't spend a single order or don't spend repeat orders on a single model. Always alternate." And he was like, "Okay, I don't know that I really want to do that, but okay." And then there was one other that we were doing, but for some stupid reason, I can't remember what it was. I'm not going to be able to remember, but there was a third one that I was like, let's do this one too. And at that point, Josh was like, you know what? You sound crazy. I'm not going to do it. He was him and Han. He sort of agreed. He sort of agreed, and we played turn 1. turn 1, I did all 3. I mean, deployment 1 was already done, right? You don't have to do that later turns. But turn 1, I alternate and do all the fancy stuff, and then do it and just fight him and do a little hurt back and forth. And then his turn 1, he does it, and he was like, "This is terrible. I'm not doing this again." And I'm like, "Okay, dude, that's fine." And then he got to experience what he does to me in every single game that we do, which is have to try and take fights with your heavy infantry piece while in a pitcher repeater network that you just can't get to.
Nice.
Take that, Josh.
That tracks.
I like
It was a
the
good game.
challenge stuff. Like, it can be fun. I remember we did the oh god, it was like 4 or 5 Krugs ago, and there was the CC challenge, like who can rack up the most.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I lost a game that I was winning handily because I got obsessed with getting a CC kill, and the unknown ranger is chasing a hack tower around the board trying to stab him and taking arrows from everything else.
There was one achievement on here called David and Goliath, which is kill the highest point trooper with your lowest point trooper.
I got that one.
Nice. What'd you do it with?
My Pupnik killed a Seraph, I think.
Nice.
Oh, yeah,
Amazing.
because a Pupnik costs 1.
1 point. And then, so he had 2 Seraphs, and my Pupnik killed 1, and my Morlock, which was my second lowest point, but my lowest like actual point if you count the whole model, so killed the other one. So either way, I was covered.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's great.
I want to shout out Mike Klein here. He killed, I don't know what. I think it was a Sphinx with his war core.
Yeah, I think it was a Sphinx too with a war core.
Okay.
I was
Walk me
thinking
through that. It has nothing
It had
lethal.
it had to coup de grace, right?
Just has to
Yeah,
coup de
that has
grace.
to be it.
Oh, even better. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, whoever takes a war core, like, that's what you have to do, right? There's no other option. It doesn't
Yeah.
have a standard pistol even, or a basic CCW. Like, that's it.
Yep. You got to go step on someone's something.
War core's like, help, I need an adult so I can kill this guy.
Amazing.
Well, that covers the event pretty well.
Nice, very cool. And yeah, it sounds like the achievements were a fun time, and I don't think about it going in, like chatting with my opponent. Well, also the achievements that I've worked with tend to be a bit tamer than some of these. But usually I just kind of go in.
I've got to talk about the highest kill count for a single order ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
There was to tee you up. One of the achievements for this was 2 for 1, which is kill 2 enemy troopers and lose 1 of your own in the same order without using a template. That was one of the achievements.
Right. So we did that. Well, I did that. My opponent used a template, so I don't think it counts for them. But
Dishonorable.
I didn't use a template, and we killed together 8 models on the first order of the game, and it was glorious. I think it's a record. So we were playing crossing lines,
I was
and
gonna say it had to be.
he set up first and placed a peacemaker, which is one of the most annoying models in the game. I love it. It's great.
Yep.
It's a great defensive piece. You have to deal with it, otherwise it will wreak havoc. And it is not easy to deal with. So he placed a peacemaker. I counter deployed his peacemaker with my chimera in a place that I could keep the chimera and one of the pupniks safe on the other side of a building while using my impetuous order to charge into the peacemaker with the other 2 pupniks, right? No problem. I also had my Sasha on that safe side of the building. He counter deployed with his reserve model my my chimera on the safe side with Shona Carano. So on the first order, I use my impetuous order and I run the chimera and the other pupnik into Shona Carano, and I run the other 2 pupniks into the peacemaker. the Peacemaker shotguns and flamethrowers with the little bot, and Shona Carano uses a nanopulsar to catch both of my models and the Sasha, and we all kill everyone. So and not just disconnected, right? Like killed. Like all of the Pupniks failed their saves and died. The Chimera failed her save. She didn't die. She was just unconscious, and I got her up later, which was the real kicker. But the Pupniks and the Chimera killed Shona Carano. The Nanopulsar killed the Pupnik and the Chimera and the Sasha. The shotguns and the flamethrowers killed the two Pupniks, and the two Pupniks killed the Peacemaker. It was glorious. 8 models dead, 1 impetuous order.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. I think that I've seen close, and I won't bog us down with the story, but I think we hit 7. But yeah, that is
7
a hell
strong.
of an order.
Have it as a lot.
I was thinking it was a pretty good one, and then here you are showing me up again, Rob.
I mean, it's got to be a record.
Why do I even
Like,
bother?
if anybody did better, like you need to come into the Metachemistry Discord and like claim to fame, get your record. I want to know.
Yeah.
Has to be
Also rub
one
it in.
order and the first order of the game.
And
Well, mine was definitely not that. It was
No,
one
I'm
order, but it was
kidding.
not the first order of the game. But yeah, it sounds like it was a great event. People had a good time. You guys had a really interesting, intense game. And so, one of the things that's kind of at the heart of these Winner Circle episodes is to kind of get a glimpse into how do you guys get to where you're at? If you have players that are trying to get better, what is it that they need to do or emulate about what you guys are doing to kind of see better results and see better placement? Now, I know a lot of things in this game are very contextual, and what works for someone may not necessarily work for another, but I think that there are good fundamentals and kind of constant truths that still kind of pervade the game. And do you guys want to talk about that a little bit in terms of what is your process getting ready for these events, and what are some ways you think other people can start getting some consistent results if they're trying to improve their play?
Rob?
Sure, yeah, I'll go first. I think so. There's a couple of different things. I think the most important thing to being good at Infinity is being able to make decisions quickly that are correct, right? So in Infinity, it's all about choosing the right engagements when you have the option, denying your opponent the ability to choose the right engagements when you don't have the option, right? So basically placing your arrows in such a way that they don't have good choices to engage them with, right? And then making those decisions quickly as the game progresses, because pretty much any tactical decision that you have to make in Infinity, the answer is it depends, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what it depends on is going to be different every time. So being able to make those calculations quickly in your head on the fly and coming up with the right answer to make the right decision is the key to being good at Infinity. And that doesn't come simply, right? So like I'm
Of
not good at
course.
math, right? Like I'm not a math genius. I can't calculate odds in my head on the fly. But I do have a lot of experience with Infinity specific mechanics, right? So in general, when it comes down to a couple of different options, I can pick which one is correct quickly and execute it and hope that the dice follow through with the statistical probability of what's supposed to happen, right? And then of course it doesn't, and you lose the game and
Mm-hmm.
you're super mad about it and you get salty and then you throw your dice across the room and storm out of it and then you quit the Infinity and then you never play again. No, wait, I'm going down the wrong
Every
rabbit hole.
time. Yeah. Every game I've ever played.
But in any case, so like in order to get to that point, right, of being able to make those decisions quickly and correctly, I think there's a couple of things that you can do to prepare for that. For one, think about different scenarios that are likely to come up, right? So, for instance, with area of interest, the the likely scenarios are going to be I need to protect this zone with these pieces, right? So how do I do that? At the beginning of the game, when I see the layout for the table and I know which side I'm going to be on, I immediately start looking for positions to put the models that I've already got a good idea of their capabilities in my head, right? On the table, seeing where their lines of fire are, where the potential lines of fire from my opponent are, where they could move, where they have to move in order to get to a good spot in order to take the engagement, right? And that's how I set up my pieces in order to make sure that those correct decisions for them end up being less optimal, right? So, for instance, if I know that my opponent is going to have a Spitfire shooting at a model that's covering my zone, I want to make sure that the best spot for them to shoot from is 25 inches away, right? Or the only way you can engage me is to come out of this cover and move around this corner, and now you can see me, but now you're out of cover, right? Little things like that add up over the course of a game. So trying to look at a table, look at a deployment zone, look at the mission objectives, and plan out how you can best achieve your goals while preventing your opponent from achieving those goals as early as possible and as consistently as possible is probably the best way to ensure success. I think that's a lot to say, to basically say make good choices, but
That's fair. But and just to kind of bounce off of that and maybe test some of the thinking, I suppose, is I feel like kind of at the crux of that is also learning to fail quickly.
Mm.
And that I think it's better to not spend too much time to analyze a given situation. So, like,
Oh.
one of the things that we kind of teach, we try to teach our newer players in terms of speeding up play is just go ahead and throw the dice. Like, we don't need to do all the calculations ahead of time. Throw the dice, and if you're seeing like ones and twos, that's almost certainly a pass, and you're seeing 19s, 20s, those are almost certainly fails. Like
Absolutely.
that
Right.
idea.
Like don't do the math before you have to roll the dice. Just roll the dice, and then if you have to do the math afterwards, I give that same advice. It's great advice.
Yeah, which kind of and also kind of prevents the feel bad of like, oh, that's a crit. Like, oh, wait, no, I forgot this guy is Mim 6, not Mim 3, or whatever mitigating factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's those sorts of
sure.
things too. But I think that failing quickly, I think probably teaches you that lesson of making those better choices faster than taking inordinate amounts of time to kind of run through the possibilities in your head.
For sure. So one of the things, like the thing that I mentioned was the key is making correct decisions quickly, right? So the quickly part of that is not just an add-on. It's like probably the most important part because if you try and analyze everything, or like I've played folks on TTS that like our games take 6 hours because they'll spend
Yeah.
10 minutes on every decision and like
Yeah.
work through
Mhm.
every single and you just can't do that, right? You can't do that in a tournament. You have to make those decisions quickly. If you spend more than 5 minutes deciding what you're going to do, it's too long, right? But the ability to make those quickly, I think, is the key, is like the differentiator between folks who are middle of the pack and folks who are at the top of the Infinity game. Because making those decisions correctly and quickly is the key. So getting to quickly is what you want to practice. So I think repetition and playing more games of Infinity really helps you do that because you see a lot more scenarios. And the more scenarios you see, the more things are in your brain to help you calculate quickly. But honestly, I don't know what the best way to train that is other than just playing.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the crux of essentially any skill, right? As it boils down to concerted practice.
Yeah. And
Just as
it's hard
important.
to figure out in Infinity what you should be practicing, right? So
Right.
like I said, I think in Infinity, trying to find the correct fights to take. So for instance, if you're the next time you're playing Infinity with your friends, right? Focus on I want to make sure that every fight I choose to take is optimal, right? And then just go with that. And then don't worry about making your opponent make optimal decisions or not make optimal decisions or whatever, right? Just try and make sure that all of your engagements are the best possible engagements. And if you can't kill a guy with the correct range band, with the right weapon, then avoid him. And if you can't avoid him, well, sometimes you just have to roll and hope for twos. That's just the way Infinity goes, right?
Mm-hmm. Good old TR bots. Nothing beats that.
Yep. Always crits on 2s. Gearbots always crit on 2s. It's the rule.
Exactly.
Yep. I had something to say, but I forgot about it. I'll come back to it when I remember.
I want to
No worries.
chime in and say
Yeah.
that like this isn't like how to get better or anything, but I think that another important topic on the time thing is also knowing when you can take your time. You don't need if you rush yourself all the time, that's gonna spell poor or poor
Yeah.
play. But if you can get to the situation where you now know what you can spend time thinking on, like maybe you need to think about 5 orders, right? And then you do those 5 orders in the matter of a minute, but you spent 5 minutes thinking about it. It's going to be way better, and it's going to improve your performance later on because it's kind of that chess mindset where you're thinking in the future. I think that taking your time to think is important, but thinking too long is also a bad thing.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with that. Like at the beginning of a turn, I'll spend like 5 minutes planning out my turn. I'll be like, okay, hold on, what do I got to do? I got to do this. I got to do this. How can I do this? Right? Where can I move here? Okay, and then go. And then when I execute, I'll spend less than a minute per order because I've already planned out what I'm going to do. And if things go wrong, right? Part of that planning is, well, what if I fail that roll? Well, do I do it again? And the thing that I was trying to think of earlier is don't spend too much time or don't commit to a mistake just because you spend a lot of time making it, right? So if it's a bad engagement, don't keep throwing the dice if it's a bad engagement, right? Like do something else. Even if you feel like you've really got to do this, unless there's really nothing else that you could do with your orders to gain success in the game, try something else, at least for an order or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Funny enough, okay, so let me just say I have a lot to say about good plays that you can make. I'm not so confident that will translate as well to answer the question of what you can do to make yourself better and more consistent. But funny enough, I think one of the things that I noticed during this tournament specifically, what that might actually be good for making yourself a better player is the pinball achievement. When I couldn't spend a single order on one model like repetitively, spend multiple orders on a single model repetitively, I was thinking in a different way, kind of thinking ahead a lot more, and I noticed a lot of gears turning, I guess, for lack of a better term. So putting
Lost of
yourself
Lieutenant does that too. Makes you think like that. And I've noticed that recently because I've been playing Obvious Lieutenants. And like, okay, if I get Lost of Lieutenant, it's a challenge. Hooray. It really does make you think kind of like the pinball mentality. That's a good point, Azoka.
Yeah. I was thinking of Lost Lieutenant also with that, yeah. And that I like to play Obvious Lieutenants and eschew Chain of Command because why would I waste points on that?
Yeah, exactly.
Tears.
Yeah.
Just be good. Right? Play from Lost of Lieutenant.
That's right.
Troll good too.
Exactly. The keys to winning here. These are the real nuggets of wisdom.
I think
Another
I did win
nugget.
a tournament the other day where I spent 2 of my 3 games in Lost of Lieutenant. It happens like often enough
Right?
that it's a learned skill.
No, it really is.
sure.
Like you have to know how to play in loss. If you get good at that, like you're just good at the game then.
I want to shout out Metachemistry for the fact that, like, in previous episodes, you guys have talked about playing a game as if you were in Lost a Lieutenant.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you what episode it is, but there are several episodes that were mentioned before or that were recorded like in the earlier stages of Metachemistry that kind of touch on this, and revisiting those points that they are still very relevant. So if you want to do some more or have more consistent performance, listen to Metachemistry.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Thanks.
Do that.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. To condense some of the episodes into one thing I might say is like practicing certain scenarios like we're talking about. Put yourself in Lost Lieutenant. If you're if you're in a scenario where you're trying to get better at the game and play more consistently, you're probably in the scenario where you have other people in your meta who want to do the same thing. So it's very likely that you can meet up with someone and be like, hey, I want to run some drills. Can we practice turn one? Right? Like I know for myself personally that if I go first, it's not good. That is my weakest point in the game. So getting with my opponents and being like, hey, I just want to run turn one drills. Let's set up a deployment. I'm going to go first, and then I'm going to see if we can do as much violence as possible, or goal setting or whatever. Or going and saying, hey, I want to play a second turn in Lost Lieutenant, regardless of how the game goes. That way you can actually get get that practice. Because if you don't ever get practice in Lost Lieutenant until you're at the tournament when someone aggressive kills your lieutenant, you are probably going to be flustered, understandably so, and you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah,
For
sometimes somebody just drops that Fide and shotguns your lieutenant turn one. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep, been there too many times.
Rude.
We'll be there again.
Yep.
It's true.
And another thing too is learn from your opponents. I've noticed that like sometimes I watch my opponents do something where I'm like, holy cow, this is crazy. And it could be something as simple as like a list building, right? Like, why did you put the Forward Observer in every Forward Observer TACOware bot in every single one of your lists? And then I see them play it and I'm like, oh, this thing is working. So I'll put it in my list. Or see people do ridiculous things like Rob was talking about with his Chimera in that Crossing Lines game. Like learning from your opponents if you see it and trying to implement it in some sort of way that you have your tools for is going to be very crucial.
Man, somebody just did that. They did something brilliant, and I was like, oh my god, that's an amazing thing. I want to do that, and I totally forget what it is. It's going to come to me in like 20 minutes, and I'll be like, oh, I should have said that in metachemistry. I'll go put it in the Discord.
No, you're actually never going to perform well ever again.
Yeah, probably not.
The worst.
What have you done to me?
I'm sorry.
Well, on that note, I think we're about ready to give some final thoughts for the episode, but I do want to say thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You guys help keep the show running. Like, that's how we do what we do. That helps for equipment costs and subscriptions and hosting and all kinds of stuff that limits what we have to do out of pocket. So we really, really appreciate that. And everything that you put in goes straight back into the show in some form or another, either those costs or special projects or things like that. We don't pay ourselves with this at all. We do it for the love of the game. And if you are interested and willing to join up, you can find us over at patreon.com/metachemistry, and we have a handful of benefits to show our appreciation for that. So we have things like early access to episodes, final voting on polls. We have a couple private channels on our Discord for our patrons and things like that. But even if that's not your speed for whatever reason, you can join us on our Discord so you can come hang out, say hi, talk about the episodes, give us your suggestions, and just generally kind of hang out with us and chat Infinity in case you don't have enough places to do so. We'd love to have
I'm on
you.
there. Come ask me questions.
That's right. So, yeah, we'd love to have you there. So, that link's in the show notes as always. So, come hang out with us. And with that said, Azoka, Rob, any final thoughts either on the event or just kind of generally improving competitive play in Infinity?
Okay,
Play more games.
Yeah.
Play more Infinity.
Yeah,
For
that
sure.
worked. I mean, even if you just playing it in your head, right? Like, scheme it out in your head, build lists in your head. When I was first starting out, I would memorize the point cost of everything and build lists while I was at work and didn't have access to Army Builder and just see how close I got. Like, that was the level of geekiness I had come to. So, you can't play games, play in your head.
But you're not good at math.
I'm not. I'm not good at math, but I am good at memorizing.
Okay. I see. if you just memorize equations, that's like being good at math.
Kind of. That's true. And as long as everything is +3 and -3, it's easy. That's why I hate Bang Bomb.
Stupid bang bombs. That's exactly what I was thinking when you said that.
Bang Bombs.
Why?
Man, another thing that just came up in my mind is when you're looking at missions, plan what you're going to do going first or second.
Yeah,
Just
for
like
sure. And
when
whether
you're
you
list
want to
building.
go first or second, right? Like what you do when you win the lieutenant role. Yeah. Good advice.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like a lot of your guys' advice, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like a lot of this boils down to the fewer decisions you have to come to a conclusion at the table, the better. Like the more you've encountered and kind of have an idea of how to react or how to perform in a given scenario, the less mental load you accumulate during the game.
It's
Yeah.
more the fewer opportunities you give yourself to make mistakes, right? Because if you already know what the correct answer is, you don't have to make a choice. You already know what the correct answer is. If you have to make a
Sure.
choice, there's a chance you'll choose wrong. And especially at the highest levels of Infinity, it comes down to whoever makes a mistake or the dice, right? If nobody makes a mistake, it comes down to the dice. But if somebody makes a mistake, really good players will capitalize on that. So don't make mistakes. Ever.
That's right. Or Rob will find you. He has a particular set of skills.
Yeah, they're only useful in a very niche community. But
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again. I really appreciate having you on. It was wonderful chatting. And on behalf of Metachemistry, this has been Devin.
Ian.
Azoka.
and Rob, and that's the meta.